This week, 1 star 2024 highlights. Rip sits courtside, feet on the hardwood for an NBA Christmas Day game. Predictions from listeners. We're joined with a Detroit Lions fan, podcaster, writer, producer, and rapper from Saginaw, Michigan. Astray.
Detroit, stand up. This episode is for you. Go to 500level.com and get all the Detroit Superstars t-shirt. Cade Cunningham, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tarek Skubal, the Cy Young Award winner from the Tigers. Mystery shirts for $10. 500level.com, the best t-shirts in sports. Use the discount code DK and RIP for 20% off everything at checkout. That's DKANDRIP. 500level.com. Let's go.
Hey, yo, what up? This is Astray. I'm on with the 1 Star Recruits podcast. Tune in.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the 1 Star Recruits podcast. Checking in at 177 pounds, healthy and happy, a little fatter than normal, but holiday season. Put it on me, Rip. Everybody knows that my in-laws have a soda fridge in their garage, and I do about 6 to 7 sodas. And I think literally I come back with between that and my nemesis, candy canes, probably put down about 13 candy canes. 5 to 6 pounds. Not bad for a holiday weekend weight gain. Rip. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to you, brother. 2025. Are you popping some champs? You sipping a couple Michelob Ultras?
Trying to stay up till the East Coast midnight, 9 p.m. here in California. If I can do it, I think it's doable at my ripe old age of 46, 2025, ringing in the new year on the East Coast via the West Coast. Yeah, definitely some alcoholic beverages tonight, and maybe watch a little Dick Clark. I'm old, man. What can I say?
Dick Clark, Rip. No way Dick Clark's still on there. You're running it back. You're going to lead the podcast with a Dick Clark right out the gate. We just lost 3 listeners, probably, with you coming out like that, Rip. Unacceptable, but also acceptable. It gets dark so late. This time of year, the darkness happens so fast, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. At 4:30, the darkness has came, and it feels like, what is that, 8 more hours until midnight? No way in hell. It's 30 degrees out. It's a crazy thought, you know? If back in the day, you know, you stay up to party. If you're not partying, the most overrated holiday, easily, New Year's. Expectations never live up to, maybe in my life, 2, I would say, 2 out of 43 New Year's Eves actually played out to my expectations. Probably not. What's your most memorable? What comes to mind is your most memorable New Year's?
I guess the one that comes to mind first is New Year's at the Marina Del Rey Marriott when our guy Billy Salibi had the entire top floor rented out for a big party. I think it was $100 a head, all you can drink. This was about 20 years ago. Were you at that, DK?
Very fancy. Salibi rented the whole top floor with class act down there, Marina Del Rey. It doesn't come to memory, but that sounds like you when you were an actor, when you were rolling around Hollywood with all your acting friends.
Yeah, you might have been there too. You just probably don't remember. You were in your 20s too. I don't even know if you remember that part.
I was sipping in my 20s. I don't remember a lot of them, but overrated in my opinion. All good. It's something that I like to tuck in now. I'm with you. 9 o'clock. I'm even cool just making some cookies and doing a DiGiorno thin crust cheese. You know, fine with me. You never know though. Some people like to party. Some people like to go do the big extravagant event. Not for me though. We'll punt on that here, Rip. But happy New Year to you. That's what I wanted to say. Happy New Year. We're going into year 5 of this podcast, man. So 2025, we're not going to do big hype, big expectations, but announcements are coming. Come back in February. You'll see some changes here on the podcast for the better. Exciting things coming down the hatch. In the meantime, though, Rip, you did it. Xmas Day, holiday game, Christmas Day game. You were live in person at Footprint Center in Phoenix. Nuggets, Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant, the Joker. Dad of the Year move, taking those kids on Christmas Day. That's a day most parents want to just sit around, clean up the wrapping paper, and just eat leftovers, is what it's known for. Watch a little football. You dragged your ass all the way down there, 1 to 5 stars. Christmas Day game with your kids, feet on the hardwood. What do you give it?
The actual experience at the game was 5 stars. It was a nice gift from Santa Claus in the stocking that morning. Like, the kids found out that morning in their stockings, they had the tickets. we were in another city. We were 2 hours away in Prescott. So that night they knew that they were going to be at the game. It was amazing. It was a late start, 8:30 p.m. So that was a little crazy with two young kids, but we made it, got back to the hotel, went right to bed. But yeah, seeing those guys up fairly close, and Jokic put on a show like usual. KD put on a show like usual, and the Suns got the win. And I think we left with two Phoenix Suns fans. We got one kid walking out in a Booker shirt and one kid walking out in a Kevin Durant shirt. So mission accomplished.
Creating memories with the Stockings immediate game. That's how fans get created. Very nice, Rip. Well done. Did you hit the $2 menu, the Matt Ishbia special $2 food menu?
Oh my God, it was the most incredible thing ever. We walked up. Of course, the kids wanted on the menus $2 hot dogs, $2 waters, $2 chips, $2 popcorn, and $2 soda. Of course, the kids, one of them wanted a Wetzel's pretzels and the other one wanted nachos, both off the $2 menu. So I splurged a little bit, but still got two hot dogs for myself, a water for each of us, two popcorns, a Wetzel's pretzel, and a nacho. $29, DK. Even my 8-year-old said, "Wow, that's it." Like he expects a $70 bill at the food counter at an NBA game. He was even impressed with the $29 price. So thank you so much, Matt Ishbia. Probably saved me about $50 in one transaction.
It's the difference on those items, and they're not great, right? That hot dog, what, a mid-level hot dog. Costco probably a little bit better, but a hot dog's a hot dog at the end of the day. And $2 is the story that you tell on a podcast. You're hanging out with your friends. Hey, cool game. Checked it out, dude. Had a $2 hot dog. It's marketing. It's built in. It's the Costco method. It's baked in. A little bit of value to go spend. What, the $140 you spent on t-shirts, Rip? They got you, but that's the way the game works. Cheers to the Phoenix Suns, man. So what do you give it? 1 to 5 stars?
I'm going 5 stars for the experience because I don't think it's something my kids will forget. I won't forget it. It's a rare Christmas Day game. I'm not sure I'll ever be to a sporting event on Christmas Day again, but 5 stars for sure. Suns win, put the cherry on top. We all walked out happy.
Might get yourself at a Amazon or Netflix game in Glendale for a Cardinals game in the future. We'll see. Definitely a Commanders game. Team of the year, player of the year, possibly. I want to do a quick year in review, Rip. It's a couple years back in review, but looking back on a friend of the pod, past pod guest, and the most successful so far, I'd argue, is Jaden Daniels. A very young Jaden Daniels came on this podcast when he was quarterbacking the Arizona State Sun Devils. We both agree, brother, right? He surpassed all expectations from when he was on here. And I mean, looking back on the videos of YouTube, first thing, I look just like a tub of fat. That's the first thing that stands out. If you want to look back on videos and look at Fat DK, I'm right there for the taking. Sweet Lord, did I have just the fattest, roundest face on YouTube. Jaden looks really young. Funny thing is, you look the same, Rip, just like a bowling ball, and like a bowling ball with crow's feet, essentially, is what you'll see with your look. It's been the same for 27 years, which is amazing, but a huge success story. Would you agree with me? Probably our most successful podcast guest, Rip, right?
Hey, we've had a lot of guests. I'd put JD in the top 20 for sure. We're talking about 200 episodes, DK. So you might want to look over the roster first. But yeah, as far as getting him early and how he turned out, we got him when he was at Arizona State, not even the LSU years. So how he's turned out so far, totally changed the direction of that Commanders franchise. I know a lot of teams are wishing they grabbed him with their picks instead of letting him slip to, I believe it was number 5, right, with the Commanders.
Yeah, it's been a success story. The Commanders as a whole have been a success story, and things continue to go in the right direction. They have a couple things that are really important in the NFL: history, fan base, and most importantly now, an owner that cares and wants to bring back the glory days. It goes beyond the games in December, like we just watched. I'm going to talk about it. It was a great game versus Atlanta, into the games in January and February, Rip, playoffs and Super Bowls, bringing that back to this genre. They clinched this last Sunday in a great game, 30-24 over Atlanta. Really fun game to watch. JD really came out and showed what he can do as a runner, as a patient thrower, a non-panicking quarterback, unlike what we see in Arizona with Kyler Murray. That's the difference in maturity and not maturity, possibly, even at a younger age. Side note, though, back to the Commanders, It was a fun game. And Josh Harris, the owner, big kudos, Rip. This guy paid $6.5 billion to purchase the Commanders in 2023, and he came in with hot. He wanted to get this team into the playoffs as quick as possible. And he's doing it so far. He's put his money where his mouth is. He's made some hires. Most importantly, they've drafted really, really well. This team returning to the playoffs really kind of proves that, bro. What's your take on the Commanders fan base, Rip? Where do they fall? Are they? I believe they're a quiet majority on the East Coast that just haven't had a reason to stand up for a long time. I think this fan base and this team has the potential to take over the entire East Coast for the next 5 years.
Perfect example is my Uncle Bob. He lives in Neffs, Pennsylvania, lifelong Pennsylvania resident, but lifelong Redskins / Commanders fan. They've been a sleeping giant. I mean, they've really just needed a quarterback since Doug Williams and Mark Rippon. But now that they have one, I think you're right. I think that fan base is awakening. That whole DC, Virginia area is a huge population of Redskins, Commanders fans. And I think they've been waiting for this for a long time, DK.
It ain't easy. It's like a corporate turnaround. Nothing is easy in this space. It's a hard league. There's only a certain amount of players and a certain amount of teams, and there's going to be growing pains. I think they've fought through that. This game versus Atlanta really proved that for me a little bit. Growing pains since Harry, and just in 2023, these growing pains. I mean, this squad, Rip, as you know, was 4-13 last year. Good enough for you to see, for you to kind of visualize even drafting Jaden Daniels like you did. Congratulations, by the way. Second place, fantasy football finish. We didn't mention that. I'll give you your flowers. Congratulations. You have any comments?
Only comment is it feels weird to finish. I'm actually not sure I finished second place in the 20 years in our league. I'm usually first. I'll be honest. It was a little odd to lose in the title game, but actually this year lucky to even be there. I had the Jaden Daniels pick, which was great, but messed up on a lot of other picks, and probably had the fourth or fifth best team in the league. And to finish second, it's always a win. So congratulations to comedian Adam Lamb. I think he's won 3 times. He texted me last night that I'm Brady and he's Eli, but he's happy with Eli. So I gotta Zell that guy over $600 sometimes later today. Congratulations, AL.
What a clown. What a clown comedian Adam Lamb is. But congratulations, Rip. You deserve it. You always play hard. Foresight to see Daniels. The Chicago Bears didn't see it, right? Remember? Caleb Williams. Now looks like our guy from our podcast, maybe the most successful guy, Rip, is why I say, on his way to looking like he could be offensive rookie of the year and have that thing. So foresight there. Dan Quinn, GM, Adam Peters, good guys in place for the future. So we'll see what happens in Washington. The biggest elephant in the room of this whole thing is a lot of these teams. It's funny how guys like Stan Kroenke and some of these super rich owners have no problem just finding an arena space, and suddenly there's this amazing arena built. Really hard to accomplish in the DMV, it seems like. Figure out the stadium situation. In my humble opinion, the next step in creating what could be a dynasty would be attracting free agents, and they're going to be starting to line up to play with Daniels, Rip. You know what I mean? State-of-the-art stadium and facility, just like the college teams. It's part of the program. Stadium matters. Franchise QB matters. Draft well. And there you go. You have it set up. Have you forgiven Cliff Kingsbury for what he did to us at the Cardinals, Rip? Are you okay with him coordinating? Are you rooting for Big Cliff now?
I am not rooting for Big Cliff. He has not come on this podcast. If he does, I'll root for him. But hey, he set the Cardinals back several years with straddling us with Kyler Murray and parlaying into that big contract. I'm happy for Jaden. I'm happy for Dan Quinn. But no, Cliff Kingsbury, persona non grata on this pod.
Yeah, fuck him, man. He really did do us dirty. You're right, man. NFL Week 18, though, there's some things at stake just to keep our eyes on beyond the Commanders. That's my take on the Commanders, though. It's a good story. I want to do a recap. Listen back to that episode if you want to hear Jaden Daniels on our show. We have, let's see, I think 12 Rip of the 14 playoff spots locked up. So nothing too crazy. The NFL did a good job moving some games around. So January 4th doubleheader, we're going to have the AFC North title between the Browns and the Ravens, followed by Bengals Steelers. Good one coming up there. We're going to move over to Sunday night game. Got flex. This is the game everybody's talking about. Vikings and Lions for the NFC North Championship. More importantly, though, the top overall seed in the NFC, including a first-round bye, which is important. Home field advantage, dome team, remember, is very important for these guys to figure it out. So a lot is at stake, Rip, for this game coming up. Big games for Lions fans, like Astray. Enjoy this interview.
Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a father, a Michigan native, the biggest Dan Campbell fan to ever come on this podcast, a writer, producer, and rapper. Astray is on with the One Star Recruits. Thanks for hopping on, Astray.
Yo, what up, guys? What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
We're happy to have you live from Michigan. We're mostly a sports podcast, but we also have been branching out to get 5-star guests from all over the place. First things first, though, you're a Michigan guy. We talked about it, the Detroit Lions. Coach Campbell has kind of changed that culture over the last few years over there. We got him on Monday Night Football this week. What do you like about this Lions squad, and what is something that maybe worries you that they might run into some obstacles in the playoffs?
I try to stay positive about it, have a good outlook. So I try not to worry about anything. I feel like we're on the right path to achieving these goals, And yeah, like I actually did a song with a couple friends of mine, where I'm singing the hook and they're rapping the verses, and it's like defending the what does it say? Defending the Dan. It's Honolulu blue. We're coming for your head and your kneecaps too. Thought we was a joke, now the joke's on you. Ain't the same old lines, nah, we brand new. And so yeah, it's like it's pretty much that's rolling. That's exactly what's happening right now with the with the whole team and everything.
Honolulu Blue, the great one of my favorite jerseys out there. Your Sunday Detroit Lions game fit. What do you throw on? What do you got on?
My Sunday, honestly, man, I got a couple Lions jerseys, a couple hats, and that's about it.
Who's on the back of those
Otherwise,
jerseys? Calvin Johnson, Barry Sanders,
I definitely have a Sanders jersey.
Amon St. Brown. If you don't, 500level.com, you can get all that gear there. And dude, you got merch on your website. We're going to talk about it. I saw that 24 tank top.
Yeah,
Check
man,
that out. Yeah, we'll put the website. That's House Apparel though. You got that. You got some more Honolulu Blue in the t-shirt. I knew you got some jerseys in there. Dude, speaking of music, you dropped some bars. You've been in this game for now 20 years. Congrats on the longevity.
Even a little more than that, but thank you.
Respect, even more than that. Yeah, you can drink. Your rap career can drink at this stage.
Yeah,
but dude, it's that ups and downs, man.
That way.
You're at Alpha House. You're in our hometown of Phoenix. Our listeners know we love the 602. We talk about it all the time. But what's re-energized you since you signed with them, and what's your thoughts? I know you're out there in the summer in Phoenix. What's your thoughts on the Valley?
Oh man, I love it out there. To be honest, like the heat, it was something I've never experienced before, anything like that. But it's something I could definitely get used to. I would probably much rather. You know what? I would be one of them snowbirds. Like I would come out there this time of year, but then come back here during the summer. Because here
Yep.
it's great here during the summer. You got like a million lakes, so like anywhere within a half an hour vicinity, or a half hour radius, whatever. Like you're near some sort of beach or body of water. You can go swimming. There's just a lot of stuff to do around here. A lot of people are out and about, which I'm sure same thing with Arizona. But when I was in Arizona in July, like I said, it was 120 degrees. So as soon as you walked out the door, as soon as you hopped out the car, whatever, as soon as your body was not in the AC anymore, you felt it. Literally, people explained it like it was opening an oven, and the heat that you feel coming out of an oven when you open it, that's exactly how it was.
Yeah, that's true. But it's nice as fuck in the winter. So shout out to everybody in AZ right now enjoying it. I mean, I got 39 degrees behind me in the PDX. I know my man's in Saginaw. What do we got? What's the temperature check?
So
Might be 15. I might be going.
No, it's
with 15.
actually really warm today. Like I went out, I had to go to the post office, and it was nice, like to the point where I just had a hoodie on. My kids had I didn't even make them wear coats. It was nice like that. So I was like, okay, because 3 days ago this whole place was covered with like snow. It was all white, and my daughter pointed it out. She's like, look, it all melted, and I'm like, damn, it did all melt. That's
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
pitching it. You're making the city of Saginaw. This is an infomercial right now. Cruise on out, 70 degrees and
Right,
lovely out
right.
there. Dude, I know that you're really nice, a great rapper. Listeners, check them out. We'll put everything in the cliff notes. You can check out some clips and hear some music. But what people may not know, you were with Shady. You were with Shady
Yeah.
Records. It's part of your bio. It's part of your story. What is the business relationship like now? You still have the producer tag I see on your Twitter bio. How is it the relationship with Shady?
The relationship with Shady is so I was never signed as an artist to Shady Records. I was signed as a singer-songwriter slash producer to Shady Music Publishing. I don't work with my old manager that I used to work with anymore, so it's kind of like as far as writing music and getting placements and stuff like that, I'm kind of on my own. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
just
new chapters, next phase, growth, and like this podcast, it's all about getting better,
abs
taking what we've learned, and flipping that next page to this next chapter. Let's talk about Saginaw. We play a little game. How hometown are you? Let's do how Saginaw are you, man? You ready? I got three
wait.
questions coming your way.
Okay, okay.
All right, 3-1. Three questions. Here we go. Draymond Green. We all know he reps Saginaw. He's the
Man.
most well known, probably Saginaw athlete. But Saginaw High
Oh,
School has produced some other notable athletes. Not everybody knows. Can you name
well,
two?
Arthur Hill as well.
Yeah. Oh, can you name two besides Draymond?
Definitely Jay Rich. Jay Rich is my all-time favorite from
Oh, Golden
Saginaw.
State Warrior dunk contest. Yes.
Man, them dunk contests, bro. He's the legend of those. Like
His
he,
son
what
is
he
nice
won like
too.
three in a row, two in a row, three in a row.
Dude, some of the best. And those Golden State Warriors, he dunked on a lot of people's heads, man. Nice. That's one. Who else you got? There's a couple more out there.
Draymond, of course, Draymond. Like I feel like he's probably accomplished the most. Why am I going
Football. You got
blank?
any football guys come to mind?
Um,
I'm gonna give you
no,
one.
you need
Charles Rogers.
actually remind me on the football tip because
Charles
I
Rogers. We got Charles Rogers and we got Lamar Woodley, both
oh
from
yeah,
Saginaw High
Lamar.
School.
Of course, of course.
Of course. And then Anthony Robertson, who's a baller, Saginaw's finest there. You got some good ones. So Rip and I grew up in Arizona. Our favorite field trips were to the Shamrock Farms Dairy Factory. Everybody got chocolate milk. That was pretty much the big time for us in Arizona. What's your
Okay.
favorite field trip memory growing up in Saginaw? Or best place to take kids to the city? You going to the children's zoo?
There's never really been nothing in Saginaw. Like we
Sell the
always
city. Sell that city.
oh, I can't even do it, man. Like I got mad love for Saginaw, but at the same time it's like a love-hate relationship. So I don't really got nothing nice to say about it at the moment. Like
The Ezra Park Zoo. We'll give them the Russ Park Zoo. Field trips had to take into the zoo.
well, just the zoo. Just the zoo on Ezra Russ. It's just always been a zoo, man. Like
Two stars.
they had a wolf. They had like some monkeys. They they
Moving on.
they
Moving
might
on.
have had a
Back to what the
badger
people
or
want to
something.
know. The people want to know. I hop into town. I'm in Saginaw for a night. Two Saginaw bars you'd recommend for me to hit up when I'm in town. Go ahead. Top two.
White's Bar, and if it's it ain't open no more, but I'd say Perry Shook Hotel.
Oh, Perry Shook. Not open the Old Junction though. Retro Rocks. We're not going to those.
Hell no.
No way. Hex
Retro
Grand
Rock. Well,
Central.
wait,
Hex
wait.
Grand Central. Not at all.
No, Grand Central. No, that's cool. Yeah, that because that was the old Wise Guys. I haven't been to any bars except for White's Bar in a
But you
long time. That's
perform there. You perform at White's Bar regularly, don't
well,
you?
that's where I do my monthly like grab the mic night, where it's kind of like an open mic for anybody. It doesn't even just have to be rappers. But yeah, like I mean, I used to like run the streets and hit the bars and you promote and yada yada, and or just go have fun or whatever. So a lot of these old bars that you're mentioning, like they were assholes back in the day. Like they would like JB Meinbergs
They were disrespect. Yeah, that's why, bro. That's I
well,
was
they
getting
they
long.
wouldn't let they wouldn't let you in. They wouldn't let me in looking like this. If my shirt was below my crotch or anything like that, I couldn't get in. Like it was only like the preppy fucking college kids that could get in. So it was like, man, fuck y'all. Like this is. I'm sorry for cursing. My bad.
Nah, all
I
good.
didn't.
There it is. I mean, my point of the question was getting to White's Bar open mic anywhere. You beat me to it and got there.
Oh
as
yeah,
soon as I
White's
can.
Bar is my favorite bar in the city, but
There it
hands down.
is. There it is,
But
man.
but
There it
there's a
is, big
lot of
dog.
really good ones, like you said, Grand Central, the one that used to be called Wise Guys, and that was a dope ass bar. We did a lot of shows there. Hamilton Street Pub, that's a dope ass bar. Did a lot of I've done a lot of shows there. There's a lot.
But we end every interview with a segment we call 1 star to 5 star. DK mentioned it off the top. We're 1 stars, but we're trying to get better every day with advice and tips from every guest we have on this pod. So I just want to ask a few questions that run the gamut on a 1 to 5 star scale here. You ready?
Okay.
You're a working parent like me, trying to juggle those responsibilities of being a dad to kids while also putting in that work to make your own career a success. Let's call it a 5 star tip that you'd give for other parents out there that are running that same race about just finding beauty in that balance?
So over here, with whatever you're doing, it's hectic. Your mind is so completely focused on it. You're in your zone. You don't want anything to break you out of your zone, but you absolutely cannot stop or lessen whatever you're doing with your kids at all. You have to find a balance, and you have to be patient, because there are times that this over here, what you're doing, can interrupt what you're doing over here with your kids, or vice versa. So it's like you have to be patient with both of them and find a way to like happily coexist to where everyone's happy. And you have to make sure that, especially them, you have to make sure that you're like on top of every feeling, every you can't just shun away like, oh, it's all right, don't worry about it, like get out of here, I'm working, whatever. There's, of course, there's times I tell them that, like, yo, it's time for me to work, I gotta do this. But if the if their need is big enough to where they need the attention right then and there, it's just like, okay, I gotta focus on them. Like, I'm not gonna ever let them go for or need for anything. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. It's a challenge. I just had a meltdown over an Xbox login that wasn't working right before this interview. So I'm lucky I'm even here right now. But I hear you,
oh my
man. It's
God.
good. We also talk on this podcast a lot about food and specifically pizza and Detroit
Oh,
pizza. I literally just had Little Caesars for lunch. That's as close as we get out here on the West Coast. But you live in
what?
Detroit. You live in Detroit. Those square slices on a scale of
Yeah.
1 to 5 stars. How do you rate your own city's pizza?
Mm, it's not like a New York slice. Not the New York,
Facts.
the long New York slice. It's those are my favorite. But the Detroit, it's like the deep dish style, not deep dish Chicago style, but deep dish, like where it's the squares, like you was talking about. You know what I
Where you
like
get it? Where
those.
do you get a slice in Saginaw? Where do you get a pie in Saginaw?
There's one right up the road that I really like called Udici's. That's a family owned pizza spot in here in Freeland, Michigan, a suburb of Saginaw. That's where I go. That's probably what I if I was gonna get pizza or whatever.
Last one. Something unique about your story is that you were adopted right from birth, I think, and
Yep.
I believe if I'm not wrong, you have a relationship with your biological mother, even though you grew up outside of her care
Yes.
with other parents. And for others who are adopted and struggle with the decision on whether to maybe connect with their biological parents or pursue a relationship with them, what's some 5 star advice from you, someone who's walked that path that you'd give to all those people out there?
The best advice I can give you guys is, yeah, you might want to meet them, and they even might want to meet you just as bad. But remember that in the beginning, they gave you up for a reason. You know what I mean? Whatever that reason was, the fact of the matter is they gave you up. So don't rush into any kind of relationship with a biological parent thinking that it's going to be perfect. Most often, not the case. You know what I mean? Like, you guys have, because I don't know, when I was adopted, the legal age to meet your mom and dad, biological mom and dad, was 18. So I had to wait till I was 18 to be able to meet them, or meet her. And so I met her first anyway. And yeah, it was just like like a roller coaster of okay, we're talking, we're gelled, we're we're vibing, but now it's like slowly like she's pulling away for some reason, and she's like, and then she comes like when she feels like it, she comes back into my life full throttle, and it's just like a lot of it's been like that for a very long time, and it's shit is mad confusing, and you know what I mean? Like shout out to my mom. I love her, and I would do anything for her, but if you want the real true facts, that's the facts. Like that's my situation, and I feel like that could probably be a lot of other situations too, you know?
And it's like perspective from someone who's lived it, and being a parent now too yourself. Like you got a different kind of perspective. So we appreciate you sharing that,
Yeah.
man. Listeners, everyone can go follow Astray. It's at Astray313. Everyone on social media. I believe you're at the Fledge in Lansing this Saturday, January 4th, right?
I am. Yep, I'm at the Fledge in Lansing with my
So
homie Taylor Runyon. He's got me judging the open mics.
all our listeners can go check it out in Lansing this Saturday, January 4th. Hey, we appreciate you coming on the show. I'm glad we found your music. I hope we helped create some new fans for you today, and best of luck to you, man. Thank you again for coming
much
on with the
love,
One
y'all,
Stars.
for real. I appreciate
You,
y'all.
bro.
Yep,
Take care.
absolutely.
Big game, Michigan stand up. Decisions to be made, though, in Minnesota, Rip. We have a Tom Brady Bledsoe possible situation to discuss here. The Sam Darnold dilemma, Basically, the question is, will this breakout QB now, nobody expected, lead the Vikings to this nice succession plan they didn't really expect? Should they give up on their other plan, which was quarterback JJ McCarthy, Rip? Let me give you some quick stats, and then you can answer the question, because I'm curious what you would do. I mean, I think I know what you do because you're just a homer. You're not going to take any risks, play it safe. Donald is playing on a 1-year, $10 million contract, Rip. That's the value guy for you. I know you love that. So he's having a career year, 4,100 yards, 35 tutties, 12 interceptions. Pretty good numbers. A little higher on interceptions than we like to see with an offense like that, but fine, whatever. So a win against these Lions would put him in number one, ready to rock and roll. The success is going to come for this tough decision for Minnesota to make in the front office. They drafted Michigan quarterback JJ McCarthy, who got hurt with the 10th pick. 10th is pretty early. And then here came Sammy D from Southern California, from Newport Beach, California, to quarterback this team. I think a lot, Rip, will be decided how he does in the playoffs. So watch the playoffs, stay involved. But what's your move if you're front office? You're going to let this thing play out and let him just find a good contract next year and stick with your plan, or out with the old and with the new?
I think the move is that with these friendly tactics that the NFL affords to GMs is they franchise tag him, and I think he gets the average of the top 5 or 10 salaries from the quarterback position, which probably be about $50 million for 1 year. But then you have a backup plan in McCarthy in case you saw it with Kirk Cousins. He totally flopped in Atlanta. Now they got Michael Penix, who was their backup plan. So kind of a similar situation to that. You don't give Sam Darnold $200 million or $100 million guaranteed. You wait and see and bet on him for 1 more year, see how it goes. But like you said, a lot of it will be determined on how they do in the playoffs. First year with the team is always not guaranteed to do well, especially in his situation. But we'll see how they do in the playoffs. But I think franchise tag is the move with Darnold.
Some PTSD could be had in the quarterback in the front office there. Remember, Kirk Cousins got that 4-year, $180 million deal from the Falcons. They didn't want. Baker got $100 million. Cowboys gave Dak 60, I believe. Rip. Money's being passed out. So we'll see. He'll be asking for a raise. He deserves a raise. The cap projects it to be just about 41 million. So that's probably that number. Jeez, Rip, this money's getting a little bit crazy. McCarthy, on the other hand, is just going to be 5 million. You got to win. It's time to win in Minnesota. They got to get through Detroit. Big games coming up. I was trying to think if I could picture JJ McCarthy as an Arizona Cardinal in my head. Seems like just another mistake, though. 1-star moments of the week. Anything that was 1-star that happened to us. Most people don't talk about it. We talk about them. 1-star moments, Rip. You've had a week of holiday travel. I'm sure some shit happened.
Yeah, you nailed it, DK. We're all excited for our drive to Arizona on the Saturday before Christmas. We're heading out. and no signs of illness. Everyone's healthy, which is rare in this family for an extended period of time. But sure enough, halfway through the drive to Arizona, DK, the 6-year-old throws up 3 times in a row in the car, all over the place, blankets, clothes, everything out of nowhere. So we kind of traced it back to a kid in his class who was sick and left early the week before. Sits right next to him, threw up 3 times in the classroom. Was back at school 2 days later. One of those, I think, norovirus, stomach bug type things, but set us back. Really set our plans back. Fortunately for him, he powered through it a little bit, but it was a rough 3 days in the first 3 days in Arizona with that going on, and had to stop at urgent care in Wickenburg. DK, urgent care in Wickenburg. We had a nurse practitioner in the office. First time he's ever seen a kid. He said the average age of his patients, Wickenburg, Arizona, between 75 and 80, was baffled on what to do with the 6-year-old. Took his temperature, gave him some Zofran that kind of stops the throw up from coming up. Actually worked, but this nurse practitioner, I think his name was Joe in Wickenburg, Arizona. Very 1-star DK, 1-star experience to have to stop at an urgent care in Wickenburg. But we made it through. We're back. We're back at home in California, home sweet home. 1-star moment of the week. Puke everywhere. Urgent care in Wickenburg.
Very stressful. Where did your stress level went from 0 to what in between just drive to throw up? Everything changed everything.
Yeah, probably at a level 8 because you're thinking of all the plans we have coming up and what we're, going to have to cancel or are we going to get anyone else sick? Those things are super contagious. So my wife actually caught it like Christmas night. She caught it at the airport on the way home. So yeah, it was a rough week with illnesses, but glad to be back home and back in business.
1-star moments. A lot of you parents had them. It's really a task traveling with kiddos during the holidays. It's important. You got to do it, Rip. You got to do it. You got to do the NBA games, see some family, do the road trip. But it's not easy. It's work. It's just work. It's just another job. It's an additional job. Basically, traveling with kiddos, not chill at all. But hats off to parents who did it. Really commend you. I saw a lot of airport activity, which means I saw a lot of hokas going on during my travels. I lost a pair of Hokas. Rip, I lost a pair. I realized that my Hoka running shoes are not good for the trails where I live now. I live right on the outskirts of Washington Park, which is home to the Oregon Zoo, the Forestry Center, the Hoyt Arboretum, the International Rose Garden, Rip, the Japanese gardens, all right here in my backyard. So I took it out on an adventure yesterday. I did 15,000 steps in my Hokas and my running shoes. Not smart. Not smart at all. Very very slidey, had some falls. They were clean falls because everything's so rainy and wet, so all good, but had a couple falls. I had to throw them away. Once so realization that I need trail shoes or boots. Good news. Hoka has the Kaha 3 GTS hiking boots, Rip, coming my way. So stay tuned for some pics. They're coming. My new exercise shoes will now be Hoka hiking boots. Stay tuned for that one.
Wow, new product line. Hoka's getting better by the day. I didn't know they had hiking boots. I can't wait to hear the review on those.
Coming. I can't. I got to throw these ones away. Too muddy. The thing about the running shoes is once they get mud on them, they're done. They're toast. So these ones are done. Hiking boots coming in. 1-star recommendation of the week for me is a restaurant. I'm doing new restaurants here now that I'm in a new city in Beaverton. This is a place that I went to in San Jose back in November and is now become a franchise. I think it's called the Dough Zone, and that's dough like bread dough zone, not pizza, brother. Not the typical, not what you would expect. It's Dough Zone, and what we're dealing with here are Zhao Long Bao soup dumplings. Let me say that again. Zhao Long Bao. Okay, that's the recommendation of the week. Dough Zone, Zhao Long Bao, bao buns. And get yourself a couple green onion pancakes while you're out at a Dough Zone. Right now, you can find them on Washington State, Oregon State, Northern California, and Texas. Dough Zones. They're going to be coming to a city near you, listeners. Essentially, it's a dumpling house. And the dumplings that I continue to mention as my recommendation of the week are soup dumplings with pork, and they're just phenomenal. And I could probably eat 60 of them. They're the new wings. They're my new version of wings, Rip. The Dough House. Check it out.
I like your attempt at pronunciation, DK. When I was in Shanghai, I believe they called it Shalong Bao. is the correct white man way to pronounce it. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Those things are delicious. When I come visit you in Portland, I demand a nice lunch date at the Dough Zone.
Dough Zone. Yeah, Xiaolongbao, Rip. You're right. And basically it's a cheaper Dai Tai Fung. Okay, Rip, if you've ever had that place.
Yeah, good food rec. Mine going into 2025, possible New Year's resolution for a lot of listeners is just a quick anecdote about that Christmas Day game. I hit up our guy Andrew Rossi from the Shooting Two podcast, works with the Golden State Warriors. I said, "Hey, do you have any connections with the Suns? I have two kids that would love to possibly see warm ups, get courtside." Within 5 minutes, I was on a text chain with someone that works at the Suns, a nice gentleman named Josh. Hooked us up, DK, for the first 30 minutes of shoot around. We were courtside, basically in Matt Ishbia's seats, right next to Kevin Durant, probably about 18 inches away from Easy Money Sniper. Got some great videos. The kids were just in awe by how big these guys are. It was amazing to watch. And really, so the rec of the week is to just ask if you have a favor or something going on that you might think is out of reach or far-fetched. It's just ask, because it can't hurt to ask. The worst that could happen is they say no. I kind of hid it from the kids until I knew it was going to happen, and they were stoked. DK, it was one of the best experiences at a sporting event in my life, being courtside there, right, to see those guys shoot around Bradley Beal. We had Nurkic right next to us. So amazing experience. And really, like I said, New Year's resolution, if you got something you want done, DK, you got to ask. If you don't ask, it's not going to happen. If you do, it might. So just ask.
Big proponent of asking. You have all your life, Rip, and it paid off. Excellent dad of the year candidate move. Very proud of you pulling that one off. And thank you to listeners in Phoenix at the Suns and the Warriors and all of our friends out there. A wonderful New Year's gift, and that's my favorite rec that you've done maybe all year, Rip. And I love it that you guys had a great time. We'll see if Suns fans stick. I really hope your kids become Suns fans. That would just be chef's kiss, icing on the cake. Speaking of Suns fans, we got some predictions for 2025 from our listeners. Let's do a quick true false with you. Here we go. Hit the music. Hit the Rips Reacts music. We'll lead into it. All right, Rip, a major gambling scandal will massively tarnish at least one of the big 5 pro leagues in North America. Matthew in Philadelphia. True or false?
Wow, I could actually 100% see that happening, but I'm going to say false because it would be almost too big of a scandal, in my opinion. I mean, we've had the Tim Donaghy stuff. We'd have a couple other individual players and individuals that have kind of messed things up before, but I'm going to say false on that one, even though I could see it happening.
Sam in Green Lake says prediction 2025. Massive NBA ratings night for the debut of Inside the NBA on ESPN and ABC.
100%. I think that's why ESPN and ABC are willing to do what it takes to get that same crew on. I mean, these guys are gold everywhere they go. It doesn't matter where they're on, but they have tons of loyal fans that are going to watch them.
Matt and Gilbert. New WNBA contracts. Highest salary will be $1 million.
That's false. I think we're still 5 years away from something like that. I don't know when Caitlin Clark's up for a new contract. Angel Reese, some of those big stars are probably still in the rookie deals, but it's not going to happen in 2025, maybe 2030.
Rory in Milwaukee. The Chicago Bears will give up its pipe dream of building a new stadium in the city of Chicago and move it to where the fans want the stadium to be, in Arlington Heights in the suburbs. True or false, Rip?
It's true. I think you're seeing a lot of new stadiums in the suburbs, and I think it's probably the right move. You can only battle for so long to get one downtown. Soldier Field is iconic, but I think it's time to go out to where all those rich people are in Arlington Heights.
Maurice Brown checking in from Iowa. NBA viewership will rebound with the infusion of new young talent still in high school. Cooper Flagg, AJ Dybonsta, alongside former NBA stars' children like Dylan Harper, Kyron Anthony, Cameron and Caden Boozer, etc. Maybe the new face of the league is yet to arrive. This is the problem that we're in. True or false, Rip? The future are those names.
The future of the game are those names, but I haven't seen the personalities out of any one of those guys yet. Maybe there's one that I don't know about. I haven't seen it yet come out in college, but that's what it's all about, is having that kind of personality and the charisma to up those ratings. So these guys have great games, but they need a personality to match, or else it's going nowhere.
Quick into Rips Reacts. 1-star recruit alumni, Amen Thompson, friend of the show, performed a perfect 5-star judo throw on Miami guard Tyler Hero. Rip, did you have Amen Thompson throwing Tyler Hero to the ground on your NBA bingo card?
Absolutely not. He seems like a super quiet and humble kid, but I think that's what, like, I'm not a Hero fan, but he said it best. It's like when someone's scoring and throwing dimes like that in a game, I'd be upset too. And I think that rough experience in that game that Amen had just put him over the edge. And I don't want to say sore loser or anything like that, but I actually liked the fact that he cared enough to do that. So props to him. But yeah, I think it was just pure frustration from him.
He's from Oakland. Don't push him too much. New York Jets fell to 4-12 after a tough loss, 40-14 from the Bills. Focus now shifting over to the next head coach. We're hearing Rex Ryan. We're hearing Ron Rivera. Rip, who's your next pick for the head coach of the New York Jets?
Tim Tebow. No one's throwing that name around. Let's go Tim Tebow, DK. We see Deshaun Jackson getting hired at Delaware State. We see Mike Vick getting hired at Norfolk State. How about Tim Tebow, ex-quarterback of the Jets? Let's see it happen.
The stupidest thing I've heard all week. World Rapid Blitz Chess Championship. The number one player, Rip, Magnus Carlsen, was pulled from the tournament Friday for wearing jeans. It's a violation of the dress code. Okay. He was able to return after he made some minor deviations to those jeans. Rip, are we at a stage in athletic leisure wear, casual athleisure wear, that you don't even need to own a pair of jeans anymore? Are jeans phasing out of society?
That's a good point. They actually are. I mean, 2025 prediction, jeans are on the decline. 100% true. I got these, athleisure. I got these slacks that kind of look like stretch pants. I don't even know what the hell they're called, but they're way more comfortable than jeans.
1-star fashionistas, chess, 5 stars. Catch Victor Wembanyama, Washington Square Park in Manhattan. 7'7" dude, just playing chess. Get your kids playing chess. We'll see you next week. We'll be back. 1-star recruits. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. See you next week.